please submit your requests for guests in my DM alongside a, I was going to say an inappropriate photo, but I won't go there. Now, we will eventually introduce some guests. I have a little roster that I'm putting together. I'm sure a lot of you want to hear from people like Miss Lisa Gallo, Vanessa Corrali, maybe my former co-host, Allie Weisbrot, aka Allie White, aka Allie Aronson. Anyway, so now it's like, what time is it? It's 6:48 in the morning, guys. This is out of control. I don't know what has gotten into me that I wake up and I'm like, oh, let me just sit down and podcast. It's almost like it's been 24 hours, but like this is how I go from one extreme to the other. It's like, oh, maybe I'll do one episode a week to, oh, maybe it'll be a daily podcast because I feel like it's a radio show and I'm now the host of an AM radio program. But no, I don't know. For some reason, mornings lately, I feel like I have a lot to say. So I want to talk briefly about yesterday's turn of events. Take a sip of the coffee. Today I'm drinking from my Fairway Restaurant mug. Those of you who don't know, Fairway Restaurant, also known as Poxabog, it's a little cafe at the Fairway Golf Course in Waynescott, Sagaponack. If you know, you know. Best breakfast in the Hamptons. Like truly one of the only little dinettes. I wouldn't even call it a diner. It's a true dinette, because it's very, very small. They have some counter space. They've got a couple of tables. They've got great pancakes, great eggs. Really, that's my go-to spot for breakfast. Other breakfast spots in the Hamptons, I would say John Papa's in East Hampton. Classic. Candy Kitchen in Bridgehampton. Sip and Soda in Southampton. Does Sag Harbor have like a good breakfast spot, like a true restaurant? I mean, Harbor Market and Kitchen, obviously. I live across the street. Oh, just revealed where I live. Please stalk me. Breakfast spots. I mean, Estia's has a good breakfast menu. Yeah, that's about it. So we just covered breakfast spots in the Hamptons. Great. Where was I going with this? How did we get? Oh, my mug. Right. Well, anyway, so I'm drinking my coffee now. By the way, in the last 2 days, have learned how to brew a pot of coffee. It's very simple, really. You just pour the water in, put the filter in. The challenge I was having before my dear domestic partner, Kristen, showed me how to make it was the coffee grind to water ratio. Now I realize it's just one heaping, that's the key word, heaping scoop per, sorry, I'm looking at the camera because it's blinking. One heaping scoop per cup. Where are my glasses? Anyone see my glasses? This is why I need a team here to help me. Bear with me 1 second. Well, I'll find them. I'll find my glasses eventually. Can't go far without them. All right, so yeah, the coffee is made, and I want to talk a little bit about what I experienced yesterday, not only at the DMV, but on multiple occasions in multiple scenarios. I want to talk about minor inconveniences because I do feel like I encounter them on a daily basis. And at least I have the wherewithal, and the capacity mentally to say, okay, this is a minor inconvenience. This is just something that's annoying and irritating that I can easily overcome, as opposed to a major inconvenience or a semi-major inconvenience. There is like a sliding scale. You've got minor, you've got semi-major, and you've got major. Now, I would describe a major inconvenience like, okay, my flight got canceled or delayed, or my luggage is lost, or something of that scale. A semi-major inconvenience, otherwise known as an SMI, would be A semi-major would be like the snowstorm, for example. While traveling in Europe, New York gets bombed with a foot of snow. And my car, when I returned, is completely buried. And it takes me an hour to dig it out. And it's not an hour of simple digging. It's an hour of me fighting for my life and figuring out how to get in the car, then getting stuck in the car, then putting it in reverse, and then going forward and trying to like jimmy my way out of the spot, all while my windshield is completely iced, frozen over, so I can't see a damn thing out the front. And I've got another car in front of me. So I'm just like, hoping I don't rear end this other vehicle. So that's a semi-major inconvenience. Yesterday was a series of minor inconveniences, like, well, I'm at the DMV. Now, normally at the DMV in Riverhead, I have to say I've gone there 3 times and I've had very pleasant, smooth experiences. Not yesterday. Okay. I don't know what the point of making an appointment for 10 a.m. is if, you get there. First of all, you get there and there's a man, a very intimidating man in the vestibule who stops you in your tracks and forces you to show the barcode for your appointment. And then he lets you inside where there's absolutely no one to guide you or direct you. So now you're trying to figure out, where do I go next? So you naturally just go to counter number 1. You go to counter number 1. They tell you got to take this paperwork and go to the woman at the folding table. The woman at the folding table is going to pre-vet you. So that's when she asks you for all your documents. Thank God I had all my documents. And when I tell you I needed my social security card, I needed my birth certificate, I needed 2 proofs of residence, I needed my current license and my passport. I wanted to upgrade to a real ID. Okay. I also had to change my physical address for my new license. What surprised me was when she said, "Oh, do you have proof of residence?" And I said, "Yes, I have a credit card statement. I have a bank statement. I'm sorry, no, I have a pay stub. I have a bank statement. And I have my registration." And she said, "Oh, well, the registration is not an acceptable form, but let me see the bank statement and the pay stub." I said, "What? Like, you mean to tell me that this official document, this small square piece of colored, textured paper with perforated edges that was issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles with my address on it is not an acceptable proof of my residence, but this 8.5 by 11 piece of white printer paper that has American Express logo on it and my credit card statement with my mailing address, which I could have easily just modified or doctored and printed out, that's an acceptable proof." Okay, that to me is a little ass backwards, but such is the state of our country, right? Nothing makes sense. So anyway, then I go to take my photo, and it all happened so fucking quickly that I had forgot that like I would have to take a photo to get a new ID. So I wasn't camera ready. I'll just say that. I would have absolutely gone and like had my makeup done if I had realized that I was going to be photographed for my license. So she takes the photo. I get one shot. She says it's good. But then I said, "Oh, can I see it?" And she said, "Sorry, it's already been submitted." Like, what? And then I like quickly signed the little piece of paper. I was not happy with my signature. It was a little messy, but I was too embarrassed to ask for another piece of paper. Anyway, then I have to go sit down and wait for U0036 to be called. And I was sitting there for over 2 hours. So at this point now, after 1 hour, I'm like, all right, I got to call and cancel my laryngologist appointment. There's no way I'm making it. So I do that. Then I have to call and cancel my beard trim appointment because there's no way I'm going to make that. Okay. So that's 2 examples of minor inconveniences. But what became frustrating was that I'm seeing all the people at the counters and they're calling the number so quickly because there's only like 3 people working each. Well, no, there's not 3 people working each counter. There's 3 people in total working about 15 different counters. So you've got all these empty counters, and there's about a dozen people walking around the background. They're just roaming around, chit-chatting, eating, drinking. I'm like, can't one of you clock in and move this process along? No. Then the guy at counter number 14 really pissed me off because I physically watched him get up at around 10:45 and disappear for 30 minutes. And no one came to replace him. And it's like, what time did you get here this morning that you're already taking a break at 10:45? There's no way. The DMV opens at what, 8 a.m.? So you've been working 2 hours and 45 minutes and you need a break? Come on, dude. Like, I work in a restaurant. What's that? Hello? Thought I heard a dog barking. I work in a restaurant. Sometimes I'm working for 12 hours straight without a break, okay, to the point where I have like neuropathy, and you can't sit in a chair for more than 3 hours. Anyway, frustrating. Then as I'm sitting there, I witness what can only be described as some sort of like generational trauma personified, because there was a sister, a brother, and a mother, an elderly mother, who had like a screaming match. I felt terrible, and I won't really reveal too much detail, but let's just say that they were throwing around a lot of very hurtful terms and allegations, ranging from elder abuse to money being stolen to time being wasted. There was something about a BJ's order being delivered, cigarettes. It was very dark, and it made me realize, like, I looked around the room and I'm like, everyone here is just going through it. Like, everyone at the DMV is on some level just going through it and not in a good place. It's not a place you want to be, no matter what the circumstances. It's sort of the great equalizer, the DMV. Like, we're all in this fucking dumpster fire together. Oh, there's my alarm. Oh, wow. God, nothing better than when your alarm goes off and you're already like up and have started your day. That is such a satisfying feeling. Nothing worse than when you are in the shower and your alarm goes off and it's right there, but it's too far and you're too wet to turn it off. And so then you have to stand in the shower for 15 more minutes listening to that annoying sound. So that was the minor inconvenience at the DMV. I ultimately made it through and then realized, you know what? I had now time to kill before my new beard trim appointment. So I decided, let me pop into Walgreens and get my passport photo taken. Now, the photo specialist, well, first of all, there was another inconvenience at Walgreens, which was that I had to wait like 15 minutes for someone to come take my photo. But again, there seemed to be like 5 or 6 employees wandering around the store doing absolutely nothing. That kind of stuff is when I get really impatient and frustrated. Like, I just want people to be doing something. So I ultimately had my photo taken by the photo associate, and he took one photo on a small little low-res point and shoot, and he showed me a preview of it, and on the camera it looked fine. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, looks pretty good. Like, my hair looks good. I wish I wasn't wearing a hoodie because I feel like I just look bulky. Anyway, I'm taking the photo again, long story short, like, spoiler alert, because it's not. He then said, all right, I need like 10 minutes. I'm like, what do you need 10 minutes for? Lo and behold, he needed 10 minutes to Photoshop the shit out of this and make me look like a crazy person with chunks of my scalp missing, because he did something where he took the photo and then, I guess, removed the background and put it on like a stark white background so that it's, acceptable to the passport administration. And in doing so, he like removed chunks of my hair to the point where now my head is completely like misshapen and deformed. And he also, I think, made it brighter, so my skin looks terrible. Like it's not a usable photo. I have it here somewhere, but I got to find it. But again, minor inconvenience now. I have to not only pay $16.99 for this crap passport photo, I need to now go and take a new one. So I'm going to call my dear friends at store 6398 in Sag Harbor at the UPS store. How do I know their email address? Because I send all of my documents there to be printed. And those of you who don't know the owner, I don't know her name, but she's a wonderful woman, and she's a photojournalist, and she goes to very remote places like in the Arctic and in the Serengeti, and she photographs elusive animals and creatures. I'm talking like snow leopards. I'm talking like, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about. The Planet Earth guy. Come on. Think of it, Sam. Think. His name is David Attenborough. You know, the British guy that narrates the Planet Earth series. She is like one of those photographers. I'm telling you, stop into the UPS store in Sag Harbor sometime and ask to see some of her work. But those guys love me, and my credit card's on file. I love it. I go in there. Sometimes there's a long wait, and I just gather my prints that have been printed, and I'm like, just put it on my account. And I walk out, and people like turn their heads like, what? He doesn't have to wait in line to pay? I sure don't. No, I have my credit card on file. I have a house account at the UPS store in Sag Harbor. Okay. What other minor inconveniences did I face yesterday? Well, I got home from the DMV, and I finished the rest of that disgusting turkey Japanese sweet potato bowl. That was such a disappointment. Never again. And then I went down the rabbit hole on the cover art for the podcast. And I was like, oh my God, I really don't like this. And I made some changes, and then I started completely reworking it from scratch. And then I just gave up, and I said, what am I doing? Just stop. You're launching this podcast tomorrow morning, as in today. And you just gotta like start with something. You can always improve it. You could always modify it. I will admit, I used ChatGPT, which really I'm ashamed to admit because I'm a creative person and I don't use ChatGPT often. I will never, ever use it for writing. I will never use it to compose an email. I will never use it to write anything creative. I like to use my brain. But I am not in the position right now to hire a graphic artist or a designer to help me create a graphic. And I needed this graphic of me in the style of a Pez dispenser. So the only way to really do it effectively on short notice was to use ChatGPT. Am I happy with the results? Not really. That's the thing. It's usable. It's mediocre, but it ain't great. And God forbid you give it feedback or note, and then it's mesmerizing almost how it can deliver you something that's actually decent. And then you're like, make this one small tweak, make his eyes a different color. And then suddenly he has braces and like a septum ring. Like it doesn't take your feedback at all. It just creates a brand new image. But, we shall overcome that. I'm just going to not focus on the aesthetics at all across the board. What it looks like, what it sounds like, what the cover art looks like. I just don't care right now. I mean, I do care deeply. That's the problem. But I'm forcing myself not to care, which maybe is a sign of growth. I'm not really sure. So what else? Let's see. Summer House, I think, premiered last night based on some of the social media I've seen this morning. Ugh. I hate that I've already been on social media. But you know what? I wake up, and sometimes when I'm laying in bed or in the bathroom, I scroll a little. I mean, what's so terrible about that? It is terrible. I shouldn't do that. Well, now maybe this is going to be my way of replacing that. I get up and I I immediately am productive and I'm expressing my own creativity before I'm consuming someone else's. That's growth, baby. But yes, Summer House did premiere last night, so I'm going to watch that episode later today, and I will report back. We'll do some recaps. Should we call Lisa Gallo at 7 a.m. and scare her? No, maybe we should. Well, yesterday, I don't even know if I should admit this, but yesterday, her and Vanessa broke into my apartment. Literally, there's no other way to describe it. They forcefully entered my apartment without my consent, and they ambushed me. Even when I told them I am busy, I am in a creative headspace, I'm editing, leave me alone, stop calling me. They couldn't reach me on my phone because it was in my bedroom. And so they just came to my apartment and they opened the door and came in and found me on my computer. And I was like, really cute. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, that is such a violation. And like, you just crossed such a boundary that this is going to rear its ugly head like in 2 months, like when we're out to dinner and like I've had two Negronis, I'm going to be like, you son of a bitch that you came into my apartment. No, I don't really care, but it was just it was a little like, a little extreme, you know? Although, wow. Okay. And you know what? This is my being very self-aware. I have on a number of occasions well, listen, there's a difference between surprising someone by knocking on their door at their apartment and just walking in. I've never walked into Lisa's apartment. I have gone to her apartment with the intent to scare her twice, and it's worked twice. All right, so I feel as though this episode could be coming to an end now that we're at about 24 minutes. Maybe that is the formula for these, record every morning, just kind of ramble and cut it off at 30 minutes max. I think that is achievable until I have a guest on. Mm. God, this coffee gives me such acid reflux. Let me think. Was there anything else between yesterday and today that I wanted to mention? Oh, here we go. Totally forgot about this. And thank God I just looked at my email. Decarba. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this retailer, Decarba. Oh my God, I can't. If I have to have another fucking email exchange with this company, I just want a fucking refund. Hi, Sam. We sincerely apologize for the confusion and for the frustration this situation has caused. We understand how exhausting it is to have to repeat yourself, and we truly regret the inconvenience. To clarify the situation, the medium-sized item you received was sent in error. I know. That's why I just want a fucking refund. I don't want you to replace it with the large. I don't want the fucking items anymore. I want my money back. I didn't want the items the minute I ordered them. I thought it was a mistake and I couldn't cancel the order. And then before I knew it, I had two cheap windbreakers in sizes that I didn't order delivered to me. And my only option to return them, according to you, was to cover the return shipping cost back to China, okay, which would have cost me $1,000, or take a 15% return and keep the items as a gift. These are not gift worthy, okay? I ordered these two windbreakers because I was going to try and recreate the Marty Supreme windbreaker for the film that me and Miles made, the premiere. And one was going to be for him, one was going to be for me. They came and the quality was so trash that I'm like, this is not going to work. And I just like, I'm not screen printing. I can't, embroider. So I'm just like, whatever. I don't want these fucking windbreakers anymore. I want my money back. $170 I spent on the two fucking windbreakers. And I was not willing to pay the return shipping cost. So I was just going to like eat it and take the 15% refund and donate the windbreakers when I looked at the sizes and realized these are not even the sizes that I ordered. So this is your mistake. So you better send me a return shipping label or just give me a full refund and let me keep the items. Like, and now I'm going back and forth and they keep saying they have to look further into it. They need to, um, see what was dispatched in accordance with the product information listed on our website. And they keep repeating that if I wish to return, I need to cover the shipping cost back to, let me give you the address. How would I even fucking go to, um, like UPS? I wouldn't even know how to like write this address. It's just ridiculous. Recipient, Yuan Shenigjian. Address, U8 Industrial Park, Ziang St. Baoen, building number U6105, Shenzhen 518000, China. That's the problem. That's the inconvenience here, folks, is international returns. It's a major, major problem for me, and I assume for many others. Why does it cost a flat fee, maybe $15, to receive something from a foreign country when you order it? But if you need to send it back, it's triple digits. Okay. I had this situation again recently with an item from the United Kingdom. I ordered a vintage ski suit for my trip to Europe and it didn't fit. So I wanted to send it back. Okay. And this is the email I got. This woman, she knew. She was so fucking patronizing and condescending. And it's like they know we're not going to fucking cover the cost to send it back. So we're just stuck with this item because it's like cheaper to keep it. But what was the address there? Like, how am I supposed to go to UPS or FedEx? Well, I wish. Can't go to FedEx because there are no FedEx stores around here, which is another problem about the Hamptons. That and DHL, nowhere to be found. You got to fucking chase the truck down in the middle of the street if you have to return something. But this person from JoJo Ski, no problem. We have plenty of other sizes if you need a replacement. Packages without a returns code in the address line will not be accepted at our warehouse and will automatically be returned. Go fuck yourself. Items must arrive back to our warehouse within the next 14 days to the following address. JoJo Ski, JJ2T-75192, Church Barn, Front Street, Laxton, East Riding of Yorkshire, DN14-7TS, United Kingdom. Get fucking bent if you think I'm going to UPS and I would have carpal tunnel by the time I got to the third line writing out this address. There wouldn't be enough room on the fucking slip, and it would cost me $350 to return an item that cost $120. Just give me a fucking return label. You know that you have access and the ability to generate a return label that's not going to cost you $1. All returned items are opened under CCTV to avoid any fraudulent returns. What? You have to like have a surveillance camera like filming you when you open? What do you We reserve the right to take legal action against you if the items you return don't match what you ordered. What happened to you, Jojo, that you are so like damaged and scarred by people returning merchandise that you have to assume the worst of your customers? I mean, it's a little extreme if you ask me. But again, another example of no, that's more than a minor inconvenience. I think that's an SMI. I think that's a semi-major inconvenience because it's costing me money. And now I'm going to have to run around and figure out how to get these items back. You know what I ultimately did with the ski suit, by the way? Those of you in town in Sag Harbor, if you'd like to see the ski suit in the flesh, go pay a visit to my dear friend Marjorie at Around Again consignment store on the wharf in Sag Harbor. Okay, I brought it promptly to Marjorie, and now it is for sale at the consignment store because I will make more money that way than if I had returned it. And that, my friends, is called entrepreneurship and being smart. Okay. But really, I take a lot of my stuff to Marjorie. She has always done right by me. She prices things very, very competitively. No, not meaning very well. Like, she prices items as they should be priced. If I bring in a jacket that is like a no-name, well, no, it's not a no-name brand. It's just like a lesser known brand, like Nanamica, for example. Like, she's going to do her research and she's going to realize this jacket costs like $750. So I'm going to price it at like $500. I'm not going to price it at like $1 like I'm a thrift store. No, I am a high-end consignment boutique. And so, yeah, I think actually I have a check to pick up over there. Well, I think this about sums up my day yesterday. I wish I had more exciting things to share. I was supposed to be on the Tamron Hall show today, but they actually delayed the segment, which ultimately will probably work out for the best because I think it'll air closer to the Scream 7 release date, which is creeping up on us. Really, that's in a few weeks. I can't wait. Those of you who don't know, I made a film called The Premiere, which is available on Amazon and Apple and some other platforms to buy or rent. And it's a mockumentary. It's a satirical comedy about the Hamptons, but the basic premise is that I am trying to make a musical version of the movie Scream. So it has a very, very strong connection to the Scream franchise. So I'm hopeful that when Scream 7 comes out in a few weeks, there will be a lot of attention and I can kind of tap into that momentum to promote the movie. But if you didn't know that I made a film that you can watch, now you do. Please check it out. And also, I guess it's now safe to say, please subscribe to this podcast, Pez Dispenses, and rate, review, and share it with your loved ones near and far. And what else? Yeah, that's about it. I hope everyone has a blessed day. Oh, what did they used to say on that show? That show, which is now slowly becoming our lives, The Handmaid's Tale. What did they used to say? Praise be. I'm going to start saying that to people in the street. I'm going to see how they react. I'm just going to go up to someone and be like, yeah, praise be. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I think you might enjoy it even more if you watch it on YouTube. Yeah. All right. As I say, all right. That's all, folks.